How you doing, RGYG family? And welcome to day 16. I hope you guys have been keeping up, because I know it's a tough battle to keep up with this prayer challenge, but trust me, it's all worth it in the end. Let's just do a quick recap. I know the day before was day 15, and we were at our house service here last night, which was an awesome night in the presence of God. Those of you who were here or who tuned in, I know you saw the presence of God moving, and I bless God for Ebony Smalls bringing that word last night, tying into alignment what we've been talking about for the last month about the perfect lover. So I bless God for her bringing that word. I bless God for you being able to be here if you were, and if you weren't, I pray that you can catch it on Facebook when you get some time to watch it, because it's really powerful and beneficial. Just recapping on day 15, the last quote that we read was, prayer is the difference between you fighting for God and God fighting for you. And we all know that we are human, and God is spirit, and he's all powerful. So we should never put ourselves in a position where we have to fight for God, because the battles that God fights, it's nothing that we're capable of fighting. We can't do it on our own strength. And what we have to do is humble ourselves, allow God to fight our battles, so that we know he will take care of it the way that he is supposed to take care of it, instead of us trying to fight it. And we're flawed. We could mess up. So we don't ever want to put ourselves in that position. Always put yourself in a position to have God fight for you. Now on to day 16, Lord, surprise me. This is probably one of the most exciting chapters for me, because it really just puts you, after you put yourself in a position to allow God to fight for you, you're also going to put yourself in a position to be surprised by God. Because a lot of these battles that you don't expect to win, God is just going to show up and show out. And you are just not going to have no idea how you got over that last situation you were in, how you got over into this next level. But you just have to bless and thank God. So, starting off, we'll talk about how he says, Mark Batterson, the author, says, Lord, surprise us. It seems like a dangerous prayer, because he said that him and his congregation, that was the prayer that they were praying. And it seems like a dangerous prayer, because we literally have to put our plans at the altar. Everything that we have planned out, everything that we are, we got orchestrated to happen, we have to take all that, surrender that, leave it at the altar, because it's not our plans, it's God's plans that we have to follow. And then he goes on to say that while he was on this vacation, I believe with his wife, he met a guy named Harry. And Harry came, and they conversed, and he ended up finding out that Harry had a book that was by a guy by the name of Dick Foss. And he also dedicated that book to a friend, so he assumed that Harry knew this other guy. Turned out that Harry did know that guy, so they were connected, and Harry went to this church called the Glen Echo Baptist Church. And then later on down the line, Mark, the author, gets a call from a guy named Tom, who goes to the same church as the guy of Harry. And Tom basically says, we have a building that's not being occupied as it once used to be, and we would like to give it to the National Community Church. Now, I don't know how many of you would have expected this to just happen on your own power, but I know that this is something I could never imagine happening from me just trying to orchestrate things. This is all God just surprising Mark and the NCC Church. Because if you try to put yourself in this position, you might get he probably would have got a call like, hey, this is Tom from Glen Echo Baptist. We got a room that you guys could use. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't imagine somebody giving me their whole church. But because he said, Lord, surprise us, because he prayed that prayer, because he left his plans at the altar, God showed up and he surprised the entire church with an entire building, like a huge building. So we can expect this to happen on our own power, but when we ask God to surprise us, we can always expect the unexpected. I like the quote that he said his grandmother used to always say, which is kind of confusing the first time you hear it. You can't always sometimes tell, which sounds like kind of confusing, but in translation that means anything could happen, right? So when you put your trust in God, you can't never always sometimes tell. If you slow it down, it kind of makes sense. But it means if you put your plans in God, if you trust in God, anything could happen. You can't put a limit on God. If we limit God to this much, if I'm praying to God for a car, He's probably going to send me a steering wheel if I'm putting a limit on God, just to be funny. You know what I'm saying? To remind you that He's limitless. There's no limit you can put on God. If you say, God, surprise me, God's not going to give you a little dollar. You know what I'm saying? He's going to surprise you with something. I mean, maybe you needed that dollar for something and you didn't expect it to come. That would be your surprise. But watch, there's going to be a whole influx of dollars coming in your way. There's even more to that surprise. But you just can't put a limit on God. And he uses the scripture, John 3:8, which reads, the wind blows wherever it pleases. Right? So the wind blows wherever it pleases, not wherever you want it to go. So if you're praying, God, I want this wind to blow this way so that my sailboat can sail that way, the wind is probably going to blow the opposite way. Why? Because you're telling God your plan. You're like, God, I want to go here, so help me to go there. God's going to be like, okay, I'm going to send you back to where you came from. As opposed to you saying, God, surprise me. God, if it's in your will for me to go this way, if it's not, lead me to whatever direction you want me to go. He's going to send the wind to blow wherever it pleases. Wherever it pleases might be the place that you're surprised about. You're not even expecting yourself to show up here and become a pastor. You're not expecting yourself to show up here and become a minister. But next thing you know, by you're being surprised by God, He's going to surprise you, and in the end, it's all going to benefit you. So this chapter is really a charge for us to put ourselves out of the way and allow God to surprise us. The quote for this chapter is also, God always has a holy surprise up His sovereign sleeve. Amen. So I challenge each and every one of you, as you continue to read, don't put a limit on God, and continue to pray that prayer, Lord, surprise us. And remember to draw the circle. Draw